6 months after the mandatory e-pass system was introduced for vehicles and tourists entering Nilgiris and Kodaikanal, the Madras High Court is not satisfied with its outcome. The court now wants the district administration to install automatic number plate recognition cameras in these tourist destinations. Why? Vanakkam. This is T. Suresh Kumar. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. Ahead of the summer vacation this year, the Madras High Court had mandated the district administration of the Nilgiris and Dindigul to introduce a mandatory e-pass registration system for vehicles and tourists entering the hill destinations of the Nilgiris and Kodaikanal. The idea behind it was to gather statistics about the number of vehicles entering the hill destinations on any given day, the number of tourists who come, whether they are staying overnight or they are there for a day's visit. All this data was to be used for a scientific study to come up with a carrying capacity for the hill stations. This scientific study is to be carried out by two professors, one from the Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru, and the other from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, because both these hill destinations are bursting at their seams. Today, illegal resorts are mushroomed. People are thronging the hill stations both during the season as well as the off season, and ecologically as well as in terms of environmental capacity, it has completely become unsustainable. There are long queues of vehicles at every checkpost in these hill destinations. And therefore, the court wanted to regulate, gather data, and come up with some long-term plans for restricting the number of people who could visit the hill destinations on a particular day. 6 months have passed. In the initial days, what happened was that the tourist operators and hoteliers association in these tourist destinations complained that there was a drastic reduction in the footfall ever since the e-pass system was introduced. But however, people realized that getting an e-pass was not very difficult. All that one needed to do was to log on to the TNEGA portal and enter basic details and get the e-pass instantly, because the court had not restricted the number of e-pass that can be issued to people. But over the months, what has happened is, at the ground level, there seems to be some laxity in enforcing this e-pass mandate. The court found this earlier this month, where it was submitted by the district administration, that during the long Deepavali weekend that Tamil Nadu just saw, only 767 cars had entered the Nilgiris. Now, this was something that the court could not believe, because just some months ago, before the e-pass mandate was brought into force, the district administration had informed the court that on an average, 20,000 vehicles carrying both tourists and regular passengers entered Nilgiris on any given day, and of them 11,500 were cars. Whereas now for the Deepavali weekend, just 747 cars had entered the hill destination for 4 days. So the court found this to be a mismatch between the actual reality. So clearly this pointed to a lack of enforcement of the e-pass mandate. Somewhere people are perhaps not registering themselves, there is no proper check at the checkpost, and they were just being allowed to pass. Likewise, the court was informed that just about over 1,000 cars had entered Kodaikanal during the first 5 days of this month. Now the court wants to ensure that the e-pass mandate is followed strictly, and therefore the judges have asked the authorities to come up with solutions, including setting up of automatic number plate recognition cameras at different checkposts in the hill stations. They also suggested that the authorities must create a drop-down menu on the TNEGA portal that will give tourists a complete list of licensed hotels, resorts, homestays, so that people would not be able to bypass the system. One, it helps people to identify licensed accommodations. Number two, it ensures that people don't suppress the fact about whether they're staying overnight or they're leaving the same day. This data will be crucial for fixing the carrying capacity for these two hill stations. The court has asked the district administration to come up with an updated report next month. Meanwhile, the Nilgiris collector has said that the recommendation of the court to install automatic number plate recognition cameras will be enforced in Ooty in all the checkposts. Very recently, the district administration there shifted the checkpost from Barliar to Kallar. And this shift, the administration says, has really helped it because in Kallar, there is greater mobile phone network connectivity, and tourists who come to the district without an e-pass are able to immediately register on the mobile phone and pass through, and it does not lead to a pile-up. Besides, QR codes have been introduced for tourists to easily scan them and register and get an e-pass at different destinations. Such kind of reforms to ease the congestion in tourist destination is not just being taken in Tamil Nadu. Taking a cue from the Madras High Court, very recently the Kerala High Court mandated the authorities to carry out a study so that the carrying capacity for various hill destinations in God's own country could be fixed. Similar calls have been made by activists to fix carrying capacity in the Chamundi Hills in Mysore. Likewise, last year, the National Green Tribunal wanted a study to be commissioned to fix carrying capacity for the Mussoorie Hills. It would be ideal for the administration to ensure 100% compliance of the e-pass mandate. It would do a whole lot of good even if people cooperate for the system, because in the long run, this would make our hill destinations sustainable. On that note, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. I hope to meet you in another video. Thank you.